unless you have been living under a rock, you know that we are losing another one. We are losing a great brand. Adwoa Beauty is closing down. And so I was like getting everything together to do my next wash day. And I realized that I was going to be using an Adwoa Beauty product at every single step of my routine. And I was like, at first, my first reaction was like, oh, Adwoa Beauty. Like this kind of like, oh, a deep sigh, you know. And I said, you know what, let's film a video where I use Adwoa Beauty and I reminisce on Adwoa Beauty and talk about, like, you know, the origins of the brand mixed with Adwoa Beauty here on my channel. But first, hello everyone, Kayla here, and this is What the King Ain't Natural Hair channel. So let me show you the products that inspired this whole thing and had me in my feelings. So I need to clarify my hair. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the clarifying shampoo from the Melonberry line. And y'all, whew, I just love the smell of the products from that Melonberry line. And then I always deep condition my hair after I clarify. And so the deep conditioner that I'm using is also from that same line. We are getting low on the products. And then for styling, the whole reason the Adwoa Beauty really was brought up to the next level is because this Curl Mix Washing Go Finishing Mousse, I've been using this forever. It's actually on like the last like I could hear it. I know that there's still product in here, so I don't want to waste it. But of course, the amount of product that's in here is not going to be able to get my whole head. So I said, okay, let me use the Adwoa Beauty foam as a stand-in. It's very soft, leaves the hair like very nice. Now, y'all, I've told you in other videos, I don't like this paired with Emba Naturals. I didn't like it. I feel like it leaves a little bit of like a cast on my hair, like a visual cast. But I said, you know what, maybe I could try it again. So I'm going to try it again. So I am going to be using the Emba Naturals products in conjunction with that foam. Hopefully my hair still comes out good. But that being said, let's get into it. Adwoa Beauty debuted in 2017 with their Baomint line, and it was called that because it was Baobab plus mint. Get it? Baomint. I remember that it was, I think what brought my attention to it was Abena from Emba Naturals was using the gel like crazy and was like buying it by the caseloads for her salon. And I think she was also with the launch stuff that they had. So there was like photos from that and everything. So I put up a one brand wash day of this line 7 years ago in 2019, using the products, of course, from the Baomint line because that's all that existed at that time. An interesting fact here, guys, though I've been known not to like mint. That was like a running gag at that time. These products actually have like a subtle sweetness to them that make them acceptable to me. So I actually like them despite the mint scent. At that time, my favorites were the shampoo and the deep conditioner. The gel was meh. I did give it a try again, and that video is just 2 years old. I put that up in 2024. So at the time that all this was going on, like the brand was new and young, they were not sold in stores, and they were saying that they were not going to be sold in stores. Like there was reasoning for it and all that they were like, nah, we're not going into stores. And they also brought about this idea, at least brought it to my like knowledge, that I think they're considered a prestige brand or something like that, where the brand is like higher priced. And so it's not going to be sold at certain places. It has a certain image, a certain vibe. Like it was like, okay, we are now into the luxurious, fancy products that are still aimed at natural hair, which is crazy. Love that. Tansy. All right, I dropped a wash day of the new, at the time, Blue Tansy line in 2021. By this time, the brand had begun to be sold in Sephora, which was a pleasant shock because still, if you're gonna go retail, if you go Sephora, that's elevated retail, right? So on this line, I felt the shampoo from the line wasn't all that clarifying because it was marketed as a clarifying shampoo. I did go on to use it as my clarifying shampoo until I finished it though. And I preferred the rinse out conditioner from this line to the deep conditioner. The deep conditioner was just like really, really heavy. I said, if I want something heavier, I'd rather go with the Bayo Mint deep conditioner. Nothing from this line really hooked me as like a repeat purchase. I use the products till they're empty because I always do, guys. And I'd never purchased anything else from Blue Tansy. But I think quite a few people did like that line. Melonberry. Melonberry dropped in parts. So in 2023, I put out a review of the gel and the hair milk. There had been some issues with the spray of the hair milk. I think it was mostly in packages sent to influencers. But I got mine after that, and so it had been resolved because it was it was a hair milk, but it was in a spray, like a traditional spray container. The last video, fun fact, the last video I ever filmed with my long hair was a review of the rest of the Melonberry line in 2025. The foam was a long time coming from that second drop. It was actually supposed to come out a year prior to that, so in 2024, but there had been some issues with it pumping out. They made that foam so rich and so creamy that I think it would like pump out and then like stop pumping. And that was a problem with it because it was just they were just trying to make it so thick. So yeah, they sorted that all out. I'm glad they did because it's a very like almost moisturizing type formulation, which we don't typically see with foams. All of the Melonberry products have a delicious scent, and I shallowly repurchased these just to infuse that scent into my routine. By this point, a lot of the products were priced pretty high, which may have discouraged some people from giving this Melonberry line a try. Like, yes, as I said earlier, Adwoa Beauty has always positioned themselves as like a cut above, so they did have higher priced products. But I do feel like this most recent launch, maybe it's my imagination, maybe I have to go back and actually check the numbers. I haven't, I will admit. I feel like this new line was more pricey than previous ones. But they also started having a lot of sales, which is something I did not see coming because, again, in the early days, they weren't going in retail, and I did not get the impression that they were going to have sales like ever or very many. But yeah, they did start to have sales, and it was actually not long before you could get that Melonberry line for a discount. And then also, I will say that in the past, I purchased more of those Bayo Mint shampoos. I got like one for like buy one, get one free or something like that. I don't even remember what the deal was, but it was a crazy good deal. Current time, Adwoa Beauty is liquidating after filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I am not even going to pretend to understand everything that brought them to this point and what it means for the future. This isn't a legal channel. But Julian, the founder, has documented everything on her Substack. I'm sad to see Adwoa Beauty go, and I'm grateful to have used their products over the years. I'll link the products that were used in this video if any of them remain, and I will also link the Substack so you can learn more about the foam release and about everything that's happening now that the brand is closing doors.